Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Secretary.
Good to be here.
Mr. Secretary, it's my understanding that the Treasury Secretary, the setup at the Treasury, that is, the IRS Commissioner reports to the Treasury Secretary through the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Who was Deputy Secretary of Treasury in 2012?
The current Deputy Secretary, Neil Wolin.
Neil Wolin. Have you talked to him about the IRS situation?
Yes, I have.
Did he relate to you any knowledge that he may have had about what was going on in Cincinnati where the IRS was targeting these conservative groups?
He and I both received the IG's report at the same time last Tuesday, and we've had numerous conversations about it since then.
But you also testified that you met with the Inspector General in March, several months back, shortly after taking office, and that the Inspector General presented a list of ongoing investigations, including the IRS targeting of conservative groups. Is that correct?
Well, what he indicated to me was that there was an audit taking place of the 501c4 determination unit, and he did indicate that there were potentially
Did you pursue that? Did you ask him why would they do such a thing,
Senator,
or anything? What did you do?
Senator, the practice at Treasury, quite appropriately, is when you're notified of an IG investigation, you allow the IG to do their work. You don't get in the way. You make sure that they have access to whatever they need access to complete their audit, and that is what Treasury was doing. I don't think he expected me to take any action at that time because I was awaiting his report, which I received last Tuesday.
Before you were named Secretary of the Treasury and confirmed in your present job, you were the Chief of Staff at the White House, correct?
Correct.
And when did you become the Chief of Staff at the White House?
In January 2012.
2012. So when this was going on in Cincinnati, you were the Chief of Staff at the White House?
Correct.
And you had no knowledge whatsoever of anything amiss dealing with the IRS approval, disapproval, delay, or anything of specific groups?
I was not aware of this audit until I met with the Inspector General on March 15th.
Had you heard of anything at the White House regarding
I was not aware of any specific facts. I know the questions had been raised. The fact is this audit was a publicly posted audit in October 2012. So the fact that an audit was going on was a matter of public record. I had no specific knowledge.
Do you believe that someone at the Cincinnati office would just on their own start targeting the conservative groups, slowing them down, or is that part of a culture at the Obama White House?
Look, Senator, I think I've read the IG report quite carefully, and I think it's very important to note that there is no suggestion of any political interference with the process of making these determinations. There is unacceptable behavior that happened at the IRS. That has to stop, and it can't happen again. But there was no suggestion of any political intervention. And frankly, the way we manage IG reports is meant to keep politics out of any review and to make sure that IGs have complete freedom to find whatever facts they find. When I met with the IG and he raised the list of concerns with me, I said to him what I've said to every auditor I've ever worked with. You have my support. If there are problems, I want to know about the problems and I want to fix them.
Is the IG report complete now? Is that finished?
Well, the audit is complete.
Audit's finished. So could the IG, if he saw fit, could he recommend to the Justice Department possible prosecution of people that were abusing the public trust and abusing the IRS regulation, perhaps laws?
Well, the IGs do have the power to make recommendations. I'm not aware of any recommendation in this case, though I am aware that the Attorney General has indicated that they will investigate whether or not there's been any criminal activity.
As Secretary Treasurer, do you have the power to recommend things to the Justice Department for possible prosecution of people who abuse the the IRS for political reasons?
Senator, I believe in this and in all matters that nobody is above the law. So I think the first question that we have is who is responsible and holding people accountable for their actions. We started by the day after the report was made public by asking for and receiving the resignation of the acting commissioner. We will continue, as the new acting commissioner takes over tomorrow, to hold people accountable for their actions because it was unacceptable. And we have to restore confidence in the IRS, and the IRS has to be free of any bias.
Are you concerned at all from your position as Secretary of the Treasury that some of this criteria that was used in Cincinnati to target conservative political groups could have been explicitly or implicitly endorsed by individuals higher up in this administration?
Senator, I have seen no suggestion of any political involvement at all. What I've said and what I believe is that it was unacceptable, and whoever is responsible should be held accountable.
But you don't think it just happened out of thin air? I mean, there was something triggering all this.
Yeah.
Was it either a culture or somebody pushing it inside? Don't you think that happened?
Senator, what I think is that the Cincinnati office exercised very poor judgment and used criteria that are unacceptable, and we've made it clear that the IRS has to be beyond any suspicion of bias.
IRS should be above suspicion, period, should it not?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Menendez.